and welcome to part 2 of this video. In part 1, I did a few major touristy highlights in the city of Buenos Aires here in Argentina. In part 2, hopefully we're gonna dive a little bit more into authentic Buenos Aires. I have no particular endpoint. The only requirement I have is that I need to find a subway station to get back to the hotel. And over here, I don't know if you can see it, I've saved the metro system of Buenos Aires in an offline map. I feel very comfortable with just skating whatever direction, because I will always find a subway station back. And I don't need internet for that. So come and join me into the unknown. In fact, in part 2 I will take you to the terminal station of subway line E.
Yeah, it was an interesting trip as I went southwest to arrive at this terminal metro station. And I decided on this occasion to look ahead already, before we move on. Tell you what flavors of the city you will encounter in this video. If you don't want to know and want to get yourself surprised, then skip this introduction part. And I think you can achieve that by moving forward by about 3 minutes or so. But if you want to know what's ahead, stay tuned. One of the things that I love so much about my Wheelsabroad endeavors are experiencing the different phases of a city. All phases and areas of a city of whatever nature make up the fabric of a city and in my opinion deserve visibility. And that tends to be curiosity amongst people, including myself I should say, for the rougher parts of the town. I noticed this firsthand when my Santiago video in La Legua, a neighborhood with a very rough reputation, went somewhat viral in Santiago, so went viral locally. Being on wheels instead of in a car gives a more authentic immersion, I think, which I hope you experience too in the videos that follow. Generally speaking, the south of Buenos Aires is considered the rougher part of town. And here's a drawing from a local with Avenida Rivadavia being somewhat of a border between the north and the south. The website Hood Maps puts the border a little lower at 25 de Mayo, but whatever the border is, in the final quarter of today's trip, I would be south of both of them, way out of tourist land. And here are the barrios I would traverse in this random trip. I would start at the very edge of Montserrat at the Plaza del Congreso. I would make my way through Balvanera. I would touch upon Almagro, Caballito, Parque Chacabuco, and I eventually ended up in Flores. And as I passed through all these barrios, I would see the vibe and area change as I went along, making my way out of touristy Buenos Aires and into the non-touristy and hence more authentic Buenos Aires. And this map over here provides some more insight and shows the many color codes I would encounter. This map makes a distinction between a barrio being touristy or not, and a barrio being inseguro, which I interpret as less safe or not. And the first two barrios are still labeled touristy, where I started from safe Montserrat and went into orange Balvanera, which is a little bit less safe apparently. And what followed were non-touristy and safe Almagro and safe Caballito, which is labeled touristy, and perhaps I was able to see why this barrio is labeled touristy, and you'll see that later in this video. Next up would be Parque Chacabuco and Flores, which are both labeled red, so non-touristy and not so safe. But locals tell me that Parque Chacabuco is not as red as this map suggests. Now, neighboring Flores though, on the other hand, is a different story. And maybe it's good for a historical perspective here. Buenos Aires started where the city center is now, and in my first Buenos Aires video I reflect on this when I'm in Puerto Madero, shown over here. And on the map of 1870 of the city, Puerto Madero would be kind of over here. At that time, Caballito, Flores, etc. used to be independent towns. But after the yellow fever epidemic in 1871, 8% of the city residents were killed and rich people moved north, leaving the poorer people in the south. And the city gradually encompassed the southwestern towns as well. This also led to Avenida Rivadavia having become for most Buenos Aires people the historic mental divides for social demography, as alluded to already earlier in this video. And it's right there in the southwest, near BAJO Flores, that my trip would end today. And indeed, the barrio of Flores has a reputation. Here's a collection of statements that I found online. And it's especially the south of Flores, where I ended up today, which is described as iffy. And indeed, I ended up about a kilometer from the infamous via 11114, which is literally just across the edge of Flores in the south. Anyway, enough talking. Let's go back to Plaza del Congreso and roll into what was at the time of taping still the unknown. Enjoy.
I'm gonna take this random side street. I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I may feel a little bit of rain. I think it's gonna rain tonight, and tomorrow will be one big thunderstorm day. I hope it will still stay dry for just a little bit more. Please. Please. Do me that favor. Just enough space, yes. Is this? Yeah, let's go to the right here. Why not? Just wanted to make sure it's not a one-way traffic street the wrong direction. Now this is fun. No particular target. That's part of the charm, of course. I really like that. And we're moving away farther and farther from the city center. So chances are we'll get into more and more authentic parts of Buenos Aires. Getting a lot of stares from the bus right next to me. Yes, people were observing what the heck I was doing there. At least, that's what I think. Maybe they were just enjoying anything on the commute home, including a weird guy from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, skating his way through the streets Buenos Aires, and in fact I've not seen a single skater so far, not a single one, and I've been going at it for, let's see, 2 hours. There you go, people. This intersection, I definitely feel like I'm in some kind of residential neighborhood. The supermercado on the right hand side. I think there was a bakery over there on the left. Nice. Yeah, the same two buses keep passing me. It's so funny. Because they have to stop frequently. So we keep running into each other. Sometimes I really do know my place in the hierarchy of the traffic here. Slight downhill. Nothing greater than this. Just rolling. But the buses are back in town soon. There is the slightest drizzle right now. The slightest. Not at all annoying. But I do hope it's not intensifying. Let's try this bike lane. Why not? To the left. It looks inviting. Unfortunately, the right hand side of the bike lane here is worse than the left hand side. That sucks a little bit. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, Made it in time. But now the bike lane has ended. Oh, it's on the other side. Wait, it's here now. Not very safe. The bike lane just crosses the road with all these cars coming. And something was telling me that the cars are not gonna stop for me. So I'll just wait my turn. I think it's fun to also share these experiences with you. But again, nothing but respect and kudos for the city, for the biking infrastructure, really. I just like exploring them, finding my way in these different infrastructures. There we go. This is Comuna 5 and the road is called Castro Barros in Comuna 5. So it's 360 in Comuna 5. How about that? 33 Orientales. The 33 Orientals was a group of revolutionary people. And there is even a square named after them in Montevideo, and that's why I know that name. Interesting. So apparently they also played a role in the history of Argentina, and I vaguely remember something about that when I did my homework before visiting the square in Montevideo. It's cool how the history of those two countries is connected, intimately connected, I think. Will you look at this, by the way? How tricky is that? Whew. I saw it, luckily. And if you cross them perpendicularly, there's no problem. And if you're in parallel, you make one wrong motion, you're screwed. So far, what is striking to me is the lack of high-rise buildings. Residential high-rise buildings. Maybe those kind of areas are further away from the city center. It seems like the medium-rise buildings are starting right here. Medium-rise, not high-rise. At the corner of Muniz and Agrelo. Yeah, the city of Buenos Aires has changed flavors here. I've told you many times before, that's what I enjoy most about these trips. Okay, so what just happened? Right over there you still see a dude with two dogs. And the dogs went nuts when I passed. And when the dog went nuts, I felt something in my leg. And I don't know if it was the paw or the mouth. But I knew that mouth was boca. So I asked him if it was paw or mouth. Turns out it was just paw. But I'll show you. Because eventually we understood each other. So let me show you. You can't see it. Right there. Yeah. I guess it happens. We're continuing our way. As if nothing happened. I mean, of course the guy couldn't help it either. He was a friendly guy. Dogs just don't like the sight of inline skates. I've noticed the sound of inline skates. I'm a tall guy, I have dark clothes. I think that sets them off wherever I am on this planet. It's part of the deal. But I don't remember that I was, let's say, physically assaulted, if you will, by a dog. Happens. Busy road, but downhill. I don't have to do anything but to navigate my motion. That's what I mean. I'm now in higher rise territory, as you can see. I'm at the corner of Cachimaggio and Avenida Juan Bautista Alberdi. It's like a tram rail, but I haven't seen any trams. That's odd. I don't think there are trams. Yeah, there is a pre-metro, but I think it has its separate tracks and not embedded in the streets like normal trams, let's say. It appears to be tram rails. Well, loyal viewers know what I tend to do when I'm around tram rails, using them as my private inline skating lane, if only in this case for a few seconds. Hey, done it. Check. Conclusion so far? This city is packed. Well, I told you, it's the second biggest metropolitan area of South America. So yeah, it's packed. I've been looking for a place to sit down and get a break. Have a break, I should say, not get a break. And now I finally see one. The first time since I left the city center. Right. Break time in a park at... Well, will you look at that? Will you look at that? The name of the street. What a coincidence. I don't know if you can read it. I'll likely have to zoom in when editing. Avenida Eva Perón. I just talked about Eva Perón in the first half of this video, so part 1. And here we are in Comuna 7 at the Avenida Eva Perón. What are the odds? That's cool.
Yeah, what are the odds? This was really an interesting finding and enough reason for a selfie. Avenida Eva Perón is completely located in the south, and here's a map showing that the street actually started about 200 meters northeast from where I was currently at. And the street existed before, but it got its current name only in 1991. This same map also shows 25 de Maggio, which, as outlined earlier by me, is considered by some the divide between the, let's say, Porsche north and rougher south, although some people put the border more north from where I was currently. Anyway, I was soon to cross the 25 de Maggio divide, so let's roll again.
During my break on that bench, I did a little bit of homework. If I keep skating along Avenida Eva Perón, I'll reach the final subway station on line E. That's quite nice. You know you've gone a distance if you reach the terminal station of a subway line. I think that's perfect timing, because I also think it won't take too long anymore before it starts to get dark. The statue on top of the big tower. Yeah. Interesting. Here we seem to be passing under that highway. I got some downhill coming up. You gotta be careful. The asphalt here. Ooh. Ooh. Poor asphalt and downhill. Brake mode. You know, again a different flavor. the city. Back to low-rise buildings. Isn't that cool? This is most definitely a different vibe again. Huh. It says there Avenida Eva Perón as expected, but right above it is a sign saying Avenida del Trabajo. Alright, so I decided to veer off Eva Perón to also give you a flavor of how it is in the side streets instead of on that busy road. Well, this is how. Look at this really blue house. Wow. That is a nice color of blue.
Yeah, let's take a minute to orientate ourselves a bit, as well as moving into serious areas here. Here's the map of Buenos Aires, so let's zoom in. By now I had made my way pretty deep into South Flores, and I was very close to BAJO Flores. And as you will see, I was about to undergo another change in vibe, and even though I had not set this area as my definite endpoint for today, and I had gone for some pretty random skating, I knew from my homework up front that this was a rougher Buenos Aires area, and truth be told, it wasn't until back home that I realized that I was only, as this map shows, about 1 kilometer away from a particularly tough area, which has Via 11114 as its epicenter. Now Via 11114 is quite something, I'll tell you. It's one of the two most notorious so-called Via Miserias of the city. Check out this article from the Buenos Aires Times from 2023 about how the city wants to take charge of Via 11114 with about 1,000 police officers. In fact, it was the last remaining capital federal shantytown under national control by the border guard, and control was handed over from the national level to the city level in 2023. This photo shows a big 2017 action at the Via with more than 2,000 police and security officers. Now, here's the map again. I was now going south on Avenida Rivera Indarte, and this very street, as this map shows, would continue to be a main street in Via 11114, about a kilometer more south. Now, having said so, as you know, I also enjoy exploring more controversial areas like this, but I would not actually go into Via 11114 during the rest of my stay in the city, as that would have been a bridge too far in terms of safety. We shouldn't forget that on inline skates one is a little bit more vulnerable, of course, than when traveling there by car, for example. But for the remainder of this trip, I clearly felt that I was in a distinct part of town, and I really truly treasure that time as well. Because areas like this are as much part of the city of Buenos Aires as any other area.
The vibe is again changing. And a little bit frankly, it starts to feel a little bit rougher on the edges. That's okay. Interesting house, interesting gates. Not sure what that is. Maybe for women that are pregnant, judging from the murals. More interesting aspects of this place, like that what I just showed you. And also more murals here. Mothers. Yeah, this has to do with pregnancies, Babies. Oh, it's the pre-metro. Yeah, I talked about that. Alright. Should be around the corner here. It's across the street here. Right. Right there. Right there. Yeah. So this is a good place to stop. I made it to the final subway station. Of line, what was it? E, yes. You can see the P right next to it. Pre-metro. So, Julio C. Saguar. 360. You can imagine this place to be a little bit shady at night when it's completely dark, like right under here, under that bridge.
Hold on, that's a familiar face right there. A few days later I was here again and I made a better picture in daylight. That's the Pope right there. And that's not a coincidence, because the Pope was born really close to this metro station, depicted here by the red arrow, at an address called Varela 268, right here in Flores, Buenos Aires.
I mean, this is 10 minutes after I arrived here. I stopped just in time. I don't want to do inline skating in the dark in places that I really don't know very well. I checked out the statistics, 20 kilometers in 3 hours and 15 minutes. We saw a lot. In part 1 we started with, you know, touristy highlights, and then I went into the unknown. And that was awesome. Different flavors again of the city. I'm far away from the city center, really far away. Terminal subway station. That tells you something. I did not see a single inline skater in the city of Buenos Aires. At least the part that I was at. I'm now going to go back to my hotel. It's been a really long day. My alarm was set at 4:30 this morning to be in time for the ferry from Montevideo to Buenos Aires. So I'm pretty tired. So I'm gonna change my inline skate for shoes and get out of here. Thanks for joining.
Will be a lot more exploration on wheels coming up, so stay tuned. I would skate 3 more times in the city, as a matter of fact. I would make my way southwest to the notorious Via Soldati. I also took my skates west for 8 kilometers on one single road only, Avenida Cordoba. I also used bike wheels to explore the city of Buenos Aires. I made my way with my bike to Palermo, which is a very posh area, as well as to La Boca, a neighborhood with some key highlights but definitely also rough on the edges. Truth be told though, I'm not a fan of soccer. Even I knew Boca Juniors, and here you see its stadium. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to see more of Buenos Aires from all different angles, but always on wheels. Yeah, and I recently shot some Wheelsabroad action videos in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. That was quite something. That will also come up in the next few months, so I really have my work cut out for me.